Welcome to the Rapport Advantage podcast, transforming the way leaders communicate. Here's your host, Alex Swire-Clark.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. It is March. Woo! Finally, spring is just around the corner. We're excited. Welcome to the Rapport Advantage podcast. If you haven't listened to our podcast before, we are here to help you break down the walls of miscommunication, increase your emotional intelligence, and build better relationships in the workplace and beyond. That is correct. I am Alex Swire-Clark, CEO, speaker, and certified human behavior expert, here to help you navigate all of those behavioral challenges that you face in your day-to-day life, whether that be in the workplace or in your personal life. This show is all about you, so give us your input and feedback. Find us on Facebook at Rapport Advantage, on Twitter at Rapport Podcast, or visit at rapportadvantage.com, which is our website. You can leave a digital message through our SpeakPipe app and get your comments to us. Our Just Thought of the Day today is going to be one of those mystery ones. I'm going to throw it up on Twitter as well to see if you can identify who said this quote from the high I fun perspective. The quote is, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible." It's kind of fun to do the impossible. Now, don't cheat and go online and try and search quickly and find that out. See if you can come up with that on your own and post that up on our Facebook page, on Twitter, and see we can find some folks who are highly skilled at determining who said that from the Disc Quote of the Day standpoint. Our main show topic for today is reading people through email. And I get asked this a lot. Hey, Alex, how do I go about effectively reading people? And we give them tools to look at clothing, how they speak, how they communicate. And in addition to that, we want to be able to give you some tools to find out how to, with decent amount of success, be able to go through and determine what type of personality style a person could be based upon email correspondence. That way you've got a read on them before you ever even meet them face-to-face. If we're talking about a potential customer, potential client, potential first date, whatever, we'll be able to give you some tools that way. So we'll start with our high Ds. Our Ds in our emails are going to be direct and to the point. They're not going to start or end with any fluff like, hey, how's it going today? Hope that you're doing well. It's pretty much going to be straight and to the point. They're all about getting results. If you go back to podcasts in the past where we've talked about our high Ds, you know that they're all about getting results and meeting those challenges. So if you send them an email that says, did you get the proposal? That's going to be a question that I ask throughout the D, I, S, and C's today. The universal question is, did you get the proposal? Their response is going to be something like, yes, we'll be in touch. That's it. That's all you're going to get. So they're in, they're out, they're going to answer your question. You asked a yes or no question, they answered it, and they're out. And so there's not going to be, thanks so much for sending it over, or appreciate your time, or looks great. It's just going to be, yes, and I'm out. So when you're dealing with Ds, just be aware that they're going to be very quick to respond. And so to communicate effectively with them, once you know that, your response to them from that point on should be professional yet direct, short, to the point. Give them answers to their questions if they have them. Don't try to expound upon points. Just be very succinct when you speak to them. And then you'll be speaking their language, and then you'll be able to better relate to you. And then, therefore, you're going to build your rapport that much faster. Our eyes are going to use lots of exclamation points. It's going to be very exciting. You can almost feel their energy through the email. They're going to use emojis quite a bit at the end of phrases or lines or points that they make. They'll maybe smiles or frowns or things like that. Sometimes even in their professional communication, just because their energy and enthusiasm just kind of bleeds into that medium. Lots of exclamation points. For example, if they say excellent, they'll use one or two exclamation points. And again, a lot of those types of exclamatory statements like great or super or excellent, those types of things, you'll see a lot of those in communication, especially if they agree with whatever it is that you're sending. So the answer to the question, did you get the proposal from an I, would sound like this. Yes, thanks, ! With a smiley. I'm excited to read it and see what you have to offer. So that sounds very high energy. You're basically letting them know, hey, I'm gratefully excited, lots of energy, lots of passion. And it's pretty easy to pick up on that in an email from an I. So S's are probably one of the most difficult to identify because they're reserved by nature. They're people-oriented, so they're going to make you feel good about what you sent. That's the number one thing. They tend to use compliments, like that it was a great proposal, or it was a great email, or thanks for a wonderful time, those kinds of things. Again, lots of feelings of expression. We had a great time, or I enjoyed it immensely, that kind of thing. If they are feeling like you're demanding a response from them and they are slower to respond than they thought you would have expected, then they're going to be somewhat apologetic at times in their emails because, again, but it depends on the tone of the sender. So if we sent that email over and it just said, did you get the proposal, ? And that was it, kind of that high D question, not any fluff before or after, then they might respond with something like, sorry I didn't get back to you. I've been quite busy. Thanks for sending it. I will look at it soon. So again, apologetic in terms of, oh dear, I didn't get this back to you fast enough, but I appreciate you sending it. I'm going to take a look at it and I'll get your response as soon as I can. So that's a typical S kind of response. Again, but it depends on the sender's tone as to how they respond. The more cheerful the tone is, the more likely they're going to be cheerful in their response as well. Our high C's responses to emails are generally more detail-oriented than you would expect from the other personality styles. Now, C's aren't verbose by nature, but what they are is clear about what they're trying to say. They will stop and organize and reorganize and reorganize and have 3 people edit an email before they send it because they want to make sure they get it right. So they're going to generally have a more lengthy explanation to ensure clarity because they want you to know exactly what they're trying to say. Not very emotional, definitely no use of emojis or emoticons or anything like that. So it's just going to be all business. So their response to, did you get the proposal might say, yes, I'm looking over the document on Thursday morning. You should hear back from me by 1 p.m. Eastern time on that day. So very detailed, going to give you an exact time of when they're going to respond. And once they do respond, their thoughts are going to be, again, very organized. They're often going to include data supporting their decision or their ideas or the response to your question. For example, they might say, here are our responses. We placed them in a spreadsheet so you could easily see our group's responses and questions to your initial proposal. So instead of trying to write a narrative, they might put it in a form that shows a pie chart or a spreadsheet or some other means of clearly seeing the data that they want you to see back in terms of their response. So they're going to be extremely over-communicative in terms of demonstrating that clarity so that you don't have any questions based upon their responses. And that's what a C will typically do. And that's going to do it for this quick episode today. To get in touch with me, visit therapportadvantage.com. If you're interested in finding out what style you are or to get a personality picture of your entire team, head over to therapportadvantage.com, click on the Rapport Store tab, and the blue Rapport Store link will take you to the assessment page and find the right one for you. The assessments take generally 10 to 15 minutes, and they offer a ton of insights into your specific style. I also put a Rapport Store link in the show notes for this podcast. On our next podcast, we'll provide more practical applications based on the patterns of human behavior. And so this has been the Rapport Advantage Podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Rapport Advantage Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Join the conversation on Facebook at The Rapport Advantage and follow us on Twitter at Rapport Podcast.